So, yes, I'm ready.
Good.
I'm Jen Stillions. I'm originally from Chicago. I moved to Iowa in 2007. I'm a full-time waitress. Um, 2012, summer of 2012, I first started volunteering for hospice. To be on hospice, you have to be given 6 months or less to live. There's always some leeway, especially with Alzheimer's patients, but for the most part, I get assigned people who are terminal. It was kind of a fluke how I started volunteering. I was going through a divorce the beginning of that year, maybe like 8 months before, and I was waitressing full-time at night and had all this extra time during the day, and I didn't want to work double shifts, so I just got this bug in my head that maybe I might want to volunteer, and I went on a volunteer website, just a general one, and plugged my information in, and nothing happened. I forgot all about it, and then and then about 8 months later, I got this email from a woman, and all it said was, "Are you still interested in volunteer work?" And I was like, "Oh, I wonder how she got my info." And I said, "Yeah," and she gave me a time and an address to go meet her, and I never asked for what kind of work it would be, which is so unlike me. Like, I would never do that. But I just went, and when I pulled in, on the building it said hospice, compasses, and I knew absolutely nothing about hospice. But when I sat down to talk with her, I had just goosebumps the whole time. The way she described hospice to me was, the only way I could interpret it was love, like a divine, supreme act of love, and so I just felt like I was kind of divinely guided into that, and I went for it. The first time I volunteered was nerve-wracking. I went through training. I went through, you have to go through about, I think it's 14 hours of training. So the training was really intense and really beautiful. But and they assign you, they assigned me 2 patients at a time, and so my first visit I went on was terrifying, because the woman had Alzheimer's. She was end-stage Alzheimer's, and I've always been afraid of Alzheimer's disease. I didn't know anything about it, didn't know how to communicate with her, and end-stage Alzheimer's, they pretty much, she can't carry on a conversation. She can talk, but it didn't make any sense, and I was fucking terrified. I spent an hour with her, and I cried when I left. I actually called my mom, who I don't really have a strong relationship with, and told her I think I'm going to quit. The more I went back, the more it just progressively got better. We developed a really special bond. I never had to tell her my name, because she wouldn't remember it anyways, but I think she always recognized me as a friend, and I noticed with her she had all these dolls in her room, and she thought they were real babies, which I thought was just the most beautiful thing in the world, because, you know, when you're an elderly person and you're alone, to have a doll be like a child to you, so just on a whim, one day before a visit, I went to the store and I picked up a stuffed animal puppy, and I brought it to her. I brought it to my visit, and I found her in the TV room, and she was kind of in a catatonic state, just not in a good place, and I was like, "Joyce, I snuck in a puppy for you," and she kind of didn't even really look at me, and I reached in and I pulled it out of my bag, and like her whole soul lit up. She thought it was a real dog, and she had it on her lap, and she was petting it and kissing it, and that was the first time, like, that was when our bond got really tight. She grabbed my arm and kissed me up and down my arm, and yeah, the more I went back, the more love there was there. Yeah, it was really beautiful. I've been volunteering for hospice. It'll be 4 years this August, and then after Joyce, my first patient, passed away, I missed her so much that I sought out volunteer work strictly with Alzheimer's patients. And so now, for a little over 3 years, I've been volunteering at a memory care center with Alzheimer's and dementia patients. I just go once a week. I help them play bingo, and it's awesome. It's like my favorite day of the week. My most memorable moment was sitting bedside with a patient. When she was dying, I think she probably passed away about 6 hours after I was there. People are always so afraid of that moment of death. And this particular patient, she was the one that had a bowel obstruction. She was really sick, and she was really struggling and not happy. And I got a text that her time was almost up. And I typically don't visit anyone on weekends because I work waitress, you know, weekends are busy. But I went on a Saturday afternoon with the hospice nurse, who's also a very good friend of mine. And we each sat on one side of her bed, and I gotta say, I'd never seen her look so peaceful. The nurse and I both leaned in because we couldn't hear what she was saying, and she told us she loved us and gave us both a kiss on the cheek. And I just honestly, I think that moment, you know, that moment where the pain is starting to subside, and she was so peaceful, and I felt peaceful knowing that her pain was going to be over. And I can't remember ever seeing her smile like that. And then I went home and I went to work, and I was going to bed, and I got this vision of her surrounded by white light in my head, and that has never happened to me before. I don't have psychic abilities or any of that, but I couldn't shake it. I went to bed with that, with her smiling and white light surrounding her. And when I woke up in the morning and my phone alarm went off, I went to look at my phone, and I already knew, you know, there was a text telling me that she had passed away, and what time, and yeah, that was a powerful moment for sure. To console myself, I mean, it's time, you know. It's the same thing you would do when you lose a friend. Anybody does when they lose a friend. My volunteer work, I go in as a friend. I'm not a nurse. I don't tend to anything. I just go in as a friend. So it is the same as losing a friend. So yeah, I grieve. I tend to grieve really, really hard for a couple days, and then I wash it away. I let go, because it doesn't do any good. Because life goes on. Because there's still life to live, and there's still people to love. And I don't want to sit in that place of grief for too long. But I've kind of always been like that. When people find out that I'm a hospice volunteer, they always say, "Oh, I could never do that," or "Oh, it takes a special soul." But I think people are wrong. People are wrong when they say, I don't think I could ever do that, because it's friendship. And everybody is going to die someday. Nobody gets out of this trip alive. So what would you want at the end of your days? Would you want somebody to be there? And family can't be there all the time. People's lives are busy. But when you're in a nursing home, or you're in the hospital, or you're in your own home, and you're lonely, and I mean, what would you want, you know? So yeah, people always say I could never do it, and I say I absolutely could do it. People told me, oh Jen, you're too soft for this kind of, like, what are you doing? You're gonna be a hospice volunteer? Like, there's no way, like, this is gonna tear you apart. But it really, I mean, it's built me up. Volunteering has taught me about love. I mean, I have goosebumps just saying it. It has taught me about the purest, most selfless form of love, loving somebody without being able to really get anything back. It's taught me about friendship. It's taught me patience. It has taught me gratitude for everything. Gratitude for, I mean, every morning I wake up, before I get out of bed, before my feet touch the ground, I check my fingers, I check my toes, I take a deep breath, and I'm grateful for everything. And that really started with my Parkinson's patient, because he couldn't do any of those things. And I wish more people would, I hope more people will get out there and volunteer. They always need volunteers, obviously, because people think that they couldn't do it, but it's the best thing I've ever done, and people told me I couldn't do it too.
What would you say your passion is?
Human connection, love, yeah.